10 live wires will be given a unique opportunity to share their creativity with the world and become the next top live wire. I'm your host, Heather Boyd Wire, and this is Live Wires for the Win. 8 weeks of wire art challenges will count down to one winner of the grand prize, a collaboration video on my YouTube channel, a $100 gift certificate for my Etsy shop, and $500 worth of wire and tools from Beadalon. This is an elimination series with a twist. Viewers will be able to participate in the weekly challenges, share photos of their work, and win great prizes. Your judges will be wire artist Heather Boyd, multimedia artist and author Patricia Srigley, and a weekly mystery judge. Let's meet this week's live wires. Tim, Linda, Peggy, Melody, Amber. So hey everybody, welcome to Live Wires for the Win, episode 6. I can't believe we're already here at episode 6. And so today we have a very special guest judge, my friend Nadia El Khoury, who is the owner of the Viva Vida Art Gallery in the Point Claire Village. Now Nadia has, hi Nadia. Hi. Nadia has run the gallery for over 10 years now, and she actually carries my wire work, my mixed media work, and wire jewelry, runs workshops. I teach wire art and jewelry making at the gallery, and it's just a fabulous hub of creativity in the heart of the Point Claire Village in Montreal. Welcome. And of course, we have my dear friend, Patricia Srigley, author, artist, coming back every week to judge. I'm so happy. And you're home now, so that's wonderful.
I'm home.
Well, that's fantastic. Great. So good. So we're just going to get started with episode 6. So this week's theme is Eye of the Storm. Now, participants were invited to interpret the idiom. They could do it literally, or they could just create pieces of art or jewelry with an eye, storm, anything goes. And as always, I always love it when people think outside the box. So let's check out this week's participants for Eye of the Storm. The first entry we have is from Peggy. Now, Peggy writes, Eye of the Storm. I'm naming this piece Rainfelt. It means maiden of lightning. As much as I wanted to stick with wire only, I immediately wanted to paint an eye for this. All I could think of was the eye is the calmest part of the storm, and what is more calm than the center of a cloud? I made the cloud surround her and added some wind on each side of the cloud. A good storm also has lightning and rain, so I added them as dangles for this wall art piece. For Rainfelt, the storm is her peace and calm. She sits nestled in the cloud, admiring her creation. I also like to keep watch during a storm, especially in the fall. So why don't I start with Peggy's? We're all going to take turns giving our feedback here. So Peggy did a gorgeous piece. I just love those painted dragon eyes. We often see them in the Wire Makers Club on Facebook, in the Facebook group, inspired by Yvonne Williams, who has a beautiful channel making wire art and jewelry. Really, really beautiful piece. I've actually never made one, but I always love seeing them pop up. And it was very appropriate for Peggy to use this in this week's challenge. Beautiful piece, and all the elements that she included in her description. And the wire work looks really lovely, nice designs. I would say the only thing that I would say about Peggy's piece was maybe to use a little bit more variety in her wire. It looks like she used very similar gauges and style of the wire work. Maybe varying different tones as well might be nice. But other than that, it's a beautiful piece, and your eye gets literally drawn into the middle of the piece as well. I thought it was a really lovely piece. Okay, so Patricia, what did you think about Peggy's piece?
I really loved it. The design was, it's almost symmetrical, but not quite. And I loved the eye. It looks like a cat's eye. And she said she painted it?
Yeah, it's called
Yeah.
it's like a dragon eye. It's quite a known technique developed by this
Oh,
woman that has a YouTube channel. Very beautiful.
it's beautiful. And I love the little dangling lightning bolts and the little raindrops that look like tears coming off the bottom. And I just thought the whole thing worked very well together.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. And Nadia, what did you think of Peggy's piece?
I thought it was really interesting as well. I thought it was she was coming from an interesting place as well in terms of the inspiration, you know, the calmness in the center. And I like the idea of that eye as well in the center. The dangly lightning bolts and so on was interesting too. I would say that dimension proportion I thought was interesting. Um, Very light. Maybe it might have been interesting, I think, to experiment a little bit more with the three-dimensionality of the piece, maybe, or the lightning bolts were very light as well.
Yeah.
Where she included the bead, maybe, but otherwise, I think it was a beautiful piece. You know, I would say just to explore maybe a little bit more. I think, as you found as well, Heather, the combination of different wires or dimension, three-dimensionality
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I actually like that observation of maybe possibly making it more three-dimensional, especially since the eye has a lot of dimensionality to it. I think that would be a really cool, sort of next step to explore that for sure. Yeah, but yeah, very beautiful piece, Peggy. Yeah, lovely. Good.
It kind of has it also had sort of an eye shape. The piece itself,
Yes.
Dangly's kind of was reminiscent of an eye as well. So
yes,
a little bit of Egyptian hieroglyphics.
True, true. And I like Patricia's observation of that they look like teardrops coming down from the lightning bolts. It really is very fitting. Let's go to Tim.
All right, this is my plans for the Eye of the Storm topic. What I want to do is get the sky view of what a hurricane storm would look like, and then in the middle. And so far, what I've come up with is the basic framework. Obviously, I'm going to fill in this down there, but we'll see how it goes later. Yeah, for this week's project, things wasn't turning out the way I'd like it to. As far as I still want to do the storm from a top view like a plane is flying over, but I'm gonna try and go in a different direction, be almost sort of Van Gogh like, and we'll see if this new direction works. Thank you.
Tim writes, for the final version of Eye of the Storm, the end product was not what I originally intended, but the concept is. I wanted to make a representation of a hurricane as seen on the weather radar. I did several restarts, but nothing looked right because I was so, I did several restarts, but nothing looked right because I was so fixated on the actual realistic look. It was when I decided to take a break from work on something else, and I was making a swirl for a pendant when I dropped it and it landed on my original plan, and I looked at it. I joked to myself that looks something like made by Van Gogh. So I ran with that and made the Eye of a Storm as if Van Gogh was making it using Starry Night as a reference. Perfect. Done with 12 gauge. This was all done with 12 gauge aluminum and 24 gauge to do all the connections. Actual size is about 9 by 9 inches. Nice. So Patricia, why don't you start with Tim?
I didn't realize from the picture that it was that big.
Yeah, that's a good size for sure.
Yeah, I like his write-up. I felt that was really interesting, and seeing the preliminary pictures of the drawing.
Yes.
And it definitely reflects a storm. It's chaotic. It's going out all over the place. It's squiggling and
yes.
Yeah. but I guess after seeing his original idea and drawings of the eye of the storm, and he said he did go in a different direction, but yeah, I felt that this got a bit busy and lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, and
perfect.
yeah, but it's still very beautiful and busy to look at, but I think the concept got lost a bit.
Yeah, got it. Perfect. And Nadia, what did you think about Tim's piece?
I thought it was really interesting. I thought that I like the fact that he used like the two-toned wire and so on, combine the two. I also thought it was an interesting, the way the concept actually developed, where, it was almost like a subconscious thing where he was trying hard, then went away from, then all of a sudden it came out of almost a subconscious level.
Yeah.
And he equated it to the Van Gogh, which I see, those swirls, the Starry Night one. I like the form of it. I like sort of the mixture of materials, the tones of material. It was an interesting piece. I like the development of it as well, the concept.
Yeah, definitely. No, I totally agree with you guys. I love, Tim's sort of explanation of how he, struggled with it. And then this accident happened. And in our group, we often call them happy accidents. I think it was Bob Ross that coined the term of happy accidents. So it's really, you can't resist it. You have to go with it sometimes. And when you have creative blocks, do put it at the side and then take a break. And then you never know what's going to happen to spark an idea. Often I'll sleep on an idea and then the next morning you wake up and then you have the solutions. So, but yeah, it's certainly a fun piece. I love his idea of starting with that idea of sort of like the satellite view of the storm. I mean, he could have even taken it like next level and had like a TV screen with the satellite view in the middle. It might have given it more context than having it just, that piece itself. Because yeah, it definitely got busy, but I guess that's the nature of a storm, is being very busy and chaotic as well. Yeah, maybe more of a focal point, just because our eye does go all over the place. But other than that, it's a fun piece. I love that he did a larger piece as opposed to more of a medallion type thing, and super fun. Yeah, very fun, Tim.
I like the three-dimensionality of the work, of his work as well.
Yes, yeah, actually, yeah, and Nadia, for sure, yeah, in a previous submission, Tim had done one that on the surface didn't look 3D, and then I think it was Patricia that had made that observation, or no, Serena had made an observation that it looked very three-dimensional just because of like the layering of the works. So yeah, no, you're really right. Yeah, you can see those layers in there for sure, just like the layers of a storm. Yeah, definitely. Next, we have Melody. Melody submitted a little video clip as well. So she writes, "Eye of a Storm, New Orleans style. I wanted the feel of a Mardi Gras mask, so I created the storm with swirls and made eyelashes for waves. I fashioned the eyeball so it would function as a fidget spinner."
So for the Eye of the Storm, I went with a New Orleans Mardi Gras mask look around this eye. And the eyelashes are also waves. And of course, there's a whole bunch of wind and stuff. Just in honor of those that just kept their peace when they went through that storm. They were the eye of the storm. And then I made it into a little fidget spinner in case you need more than just inner peace.
So Nadia, why don't you start with Melodies?
I really love this piece, actually. I thought it was interesting. I thought the concept of what it represented was really interesting, where her, the eye of the storm, and then sort of connecting it to the Katrina, hurricane. I like the fact that it also has that nuance of the mask, the New Orleans mask, and you see that. I also find it an interesting piece in terms of the shape of it. Yes. I like the fact that it's got the little swirl that goes up and where there's not a symmetry to it. It's asymmetrical. Yeah. And then that little fidget piece I thought was quite fun, so I thought it was added lightness to to it, you know. So I really I enjoyed. I like the process of it, and I like the finished piece. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I thought it was really unique. She had a slightly different approach, even though it was still like the eye of the storm, the literal eye of the storm. I love her swirls going up. I love the variety of it. They're not too like stiff. They're very organic. And the eyelash kind of looking like waves was really cool. And I really love that fidget spinner thing. I thought that was great, functional piece of art, especially in this day and age when everybody's looking for a way to calm themselves down. And so just to have like a little thing to to focus on. Yeah, I love the way it stands. Like she did a very effective way of getting it to stand in a 3-dimensional way. So beautiful piece. I thought it was really lovely. No. And Patricia, what did you think of Melody's piece?
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I I loved her creative idea, which is unique, as you said, and I really love the eyelash waves. That's so cute.
So
And
cute.
again, the fidget, it's, you know, such an innovative idea.
Yeah.
And it turned out beautifully.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, I was really impressed with the piece. And I love that she used like double, triple wires to do the swirls. And it just gives it a little bit more body rather than doing single wire swirls. And just a nice variety of like the movement of the wire and everything. Yeah, beautiful piece. So next we have Linda, and Linda writes, when a hurricane gets to be a category 3 or above, it may get an ocular eye and a buzzsaw edge. I tried to represent this in this piece. A well-formed eye, if large enough, will allow the ocean to be seen from above, which is why I chose the blue stone. The outer edges that are weaved represent the semi-organized chaos of a well-formed hurricane. I did this in square 20 gauge sterling silver and 28 gauge for the weave.
Living in Florida, I unfortunately know hurricanes. I watch them closely every season. This piece I'm calling Hurricane Linda. The eye of this piece is a blue apatite. It's chatoyant, but it's hard to see. I actually cut that stone myself. The eye is calm, and you can see the ocean usually below it from space if it's a good eye. But the outer is chaos, but an organized chaos. And that's what I think this piece represents.
I'll start with Linda's piece. I love the story behind it. I love that she called it Hurricane Linda. That's so fun. I always love when people name their pieces, and this one obviously is very personal. I mean, being in Canada, I don't have, or in Montreal, I don't have experience living through hurricanes, but I could only imagine, you know, the terror and the worry living in that kind of climate. Yeah, she cuts her own stones, which is super cool. I love that she was sort of involved with the whole process of making the piece. It looks, you know, it's definitely fits the theme of Eye of the Storm. The only thing I would say is a little bit more variety. Like I found the wrap to be pretty consistent, and I would just suggest like a little bit more variety of line or shape, or just to give it a little bit more oomph, or even like doing 2 tones of wire or something a little bit different. But it's yeah, it's a very cool piece, very wearable piece as a pendant. Makes a really lovely pendant for sure. Yeah, and Patricia, what did you think of Linda's piece?
I really liked the solidity of it. Like it's dense, and it looks like something you could hold in your hand and it would feel like it had weight to it. Yeah, and her write-up is beautiful. The story she told about making it with the stone. And it does look a lot like a hurricane with all the swirling.
True.
And yeah, and also the what she called them, the pieces that come out.
The buzzsaw edge?
Buzzsaw, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah, the buzzsaw edge to me also looked like it could be a sort of stylized sun, like which would come out after the storm. The sun is there. So
True.
yeah, I just loved, yeah, I thought it was very beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, I
And
like that.
gold. Yeah.
I like that observation that it looks a bit like a sun behind the hurricane. I think that's really cool. Yeah, nice. And Nadia, what did you think of Linda's piece?
I thought that the piece was quite interesting. Again, I think like you, Heather, I thought that maybe a little bit more of a variety would be interesting to see. And I know I can see the concept of having the ocean, like if you're looking from above and you can see the ocean underneath. But I almost feel like I'd like to see that little bead a little more. You know, I find it
Yeah.
recedes a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Form-wise, I think it's great. When we look close up at it, I thought that the mesh and the wire wrapping was intricate. It's really beautiful when you look close up to it, you know. So well done. You know, just those little and maybe variety of wire to some difference in material might make it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you. The stone is a little bit hidden. It would be nice to see it a little bit more. So next we have Amber. Amber writes, I made a sun catcher that depicts a person sitting in lotus pose meditating. I used the elements of wind, water, fire, and a crying eye as metaphors to depict the chaos of daily life. The tree coming out of the meditator's head represents the mental state of calmness achieved through their meditation. Dangling below the triangle is the traditional third eye chakra symbol, another representation of achieving mental clarity through meditation. Patricia, would you like to start with Amber's?
All right. Again, yeah, beautiful piece. It was almost like a little painting done with wire. Because she has so many shapes and the different colors of wire and the figure done as almost a line drawing. And there's so much meaning and symbolism in this. It was, and she brought all the elements together so beautifully and in a visual presentation. And I like that she used a triangle shape and how she cut the wire and joined it at the edges. Yeah, I just thought there was so much about this piece that was really impressive and I loved it.
Nice. And Nadia, what did you think of Amber's piece?
I thought the same thing. I thought it was a beautifully done piece. I thought that it was an interesting, the kind of piece that draws you in and tells a story, you know. So I love the fact that she used a variety of different color wires and so on, and that the shape of it I thought was really strong, that sort of pyramid shape. Beautifully done piece. I thought it was fitting for the challenge, I thought as well. So I really liked what she did with it. And I like the fact that it had these different elements in each little corner. You know, it just guided your eye around and into that story. So I thought it was a strong piece in that sense.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree with you guys. I love that triangular form. Yeah, it was perfect for, you know, the theme of what she's including in her piece. Love the yoga figure sitting, meditating, very beautiful. I've seen yoga figures before, but I liked her little twist. I like her little bendy elbows and the elongated head. It's just was really, she did it very, very beautifully. And yeah, all the individual pieces, like you said, Patricia, it looks like a kind of a mini painting, you know, a little scene, and that she included all the elements. And then the blue wire is reflected from the tier to the waves at the bottom. So she's done a nice variety of techniques, flattened wire with the clouds, the fires, you know, simple, even though there are a lot of elements, they're somehow tied all together. Yeah, and I do like the way she did the triangle with the overlapping edges like that. That was a different approach to it. It gives it a little more, you're not like stuck inside the triangle. You feel like there's a little bit more to it, like rather than just being a very plain triangle. I would say the only thing about this piece is I found the symbol at the bottom to be a little bit large and distracting for the piece. It might be like a personal kind of thing that I have that my eye just went right to it. And also I feel like it was in a sense a little bit more of a literal symbol, where it's an actual symbol that is used a lot in jewelry, you know, like pendants and earrings and stuff with that kind of Om type symbol. I didn't think it needed that piece because there was so much going on within the triangle. Maybe if she was to dangle maybe something else down there, but not. I just found it was very bold, and your eye like really went to that piece, rather than I would have rather be focused more on the meditation figure itself. But technically beautiful piece. I really, really love what she did with it. And yeah, really very nice.
Okay.
So guys, now comes the time where we choose one winner of this week's competition. I say that with quote marks, competition, because everybody's a winner and all the work every week is just blowing us away. It's so impressive, so happy. And I really hope that viewers are participating as well. I'll link up below where viewers can go to the Facebook group and participate in the weekly challenges for a chance to win all kinds of great prizes. And no worries, viewers, if you participate in the challenges, we will not be judging your work. There'll be a random draw of everybody that completes all 8 challenges to win lots of great prizes at the end of the series. So without further ado, we are going to choose this week's winner. And Patricia, would you like to start?
Yeah, I did have 3 out of the 5 top picks this week, but I think my top pick was Peggy. I just felt her design really worked so well together, and but Amber and Melody were close run close run picks. So Peggy would be my top pick, Melody and Amber close behind.
I would say there were 2 that stood out for me this week. The top 2 that I would say this week was I liked Amber's a lot. I loved all the imagery in her work. I loved the format. Yeah, I think she really put a lot of thought into the piece, and it was very unique. And Melodies, I really love Melodies with the little fidget spinner, and the design was lovely, and the way that it stood like in a 3-dimensional fashion. I thought it was, and her concept of the Mardi Gras was really unique as well. So I would say those were my top 2 picks this week. And Nadia, what would you say were in your top this week?
I would say my top pick, I really like Melodies. I would say hers is my top pick. I also liked Amber's quite a bit, and I liked Tim's. I liked Tim's as well. I like larger format, kind of body art idea and so on. And I thought it was an interesting way in which but I would say my top would be Melody.
Okay. So I think we're going to have a consensus, guys, because we have, we all like Melody, and Nadia put her at the top. So this week's winner is Melody. Congratulations. Yeah, but yeah,
they were all beautiful. It's hard. When Heather told me, oh, you have to, I'm like, whoa. Oh, choose from these. They were beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's very subjective. It's just the nature of the game. We have to choose one person each week that we put at the top, and then one person that goes home. And it's always the hard part, but it's always a learning experience for everybody. I love these discussions about talking about aspects of the work and the creative process. So that's that. Congratulations, Melody, for being this week's winner. And now comes the very hard part, where we have to say goodbye to one of the participants. Everybody's work has been amazing. It's always the hardest part, but the nature of the game, we have to whittle our way down to one. So why don't we start with Nadia? Why don't you start with if you had 1 or 2 that you were considering to go home today?
That was a tough one. I would say that for me, it was probably between Linda and Peggy's, although I know Patricia liked Peggy's. So those 2 for me were ones that, again, subjectively, I thought there could have been some I added things to it. So yeah, though I would say maybe for me, Linda maybe would be the one. I love the work again, but I think it lacked a little bit of dimension, maybe.
Okay. Got it. And Patricia, who were you considering to go home today?
I was thinking of Tim. I felt he didn't quite get the theme within the challenge.
Right. Okay. And yeah, so I was actually thinking of I had two. I also agreed that Tim definitely could have like worked on it a little more. I loved his concept and the idea of like sort of the satellite view. So that he was sort of in my thoughts for that. But I really felt that this week that Linda, I felt that her work could have used a little bit more to make it a little bit clearer. And maybe it was because the stone was like a little too hidden that I felt that it needed more of a focal point and a little more variety. So to me, my choice to go home would be Linda. So you said just Tim?
But because my other three were towards the top, that would mean Linda was my second
in the bottom. So guys, sadly, I think that we're going to have to say goodbye to Linda this week. Hopefully, Linda, you're going to continue to participate in the challenges on Facebook. And I really hope that we'll continue to see your beautiful work. And thank you to everybody for participating in the challenge every week. It's been so much fun. We really enjoy it every week, and it gets harder and harder every week because we have fewer and fewer people. So and thank you, Nadia, so much for coming on as a guest judge. It was really fun. Beautiful to see you in your gallery. I'll link up all your coordinates in the description below. And thank you, Patricia, for coming on every week. I'll link up all your stuff in the description as well. Patricia Srigley, author, artist, just put out a new book. So I'll link that one up below as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And we'll see everybody next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to Live Wires for the Win. Be sure to tune in each week and participate in the challenges on our Facebook event page. If you complete all 8 challenges based on the weekly themes, you will be eligible to win all kinds of great prizes from Beadalon. Details are in the description below underneath the video.